Now, this week, live on the Storytime with Legendary Jerry show.
Storytime.
Let me just say this. I'm excited about every interview I do. I don't care who it is. Tangy Renee can vouch for this, my co-host. Everybody that comes on Storytime with Legendary Jerry, I'm excited about. This week's episode, nothing against my other guests that have been on the show. I'm a little bit more excited about this interview because of the history with this gentleman, personally and professionally, that I've had with this young man who goes by the name of Steve Rifkind.
Woo! Steve Rifkind, ladies and gentlemen. Big round of applause, please.
I mean, I don't even know how to, Tange, I don't know if saying music icon is even big enough for him.
Wow, I mean, he is an icon indeed, and my God, I don't know what else to say but icon. You know what, not even just music icon, just icon.
This guy right here, Steve Rifkind, for those who don't know, he probably not gonna like me saying this, but when you look at the culture creators, curators, and people who have had their hand on the thumbprint of this hip hop culture, you look at Russell Simmons, and Steve Rifkin's name is Steve. You may think of, but it's right there, bro.
Oh, absolutely.
It's right there, bro. Like, seriously, man.
Absolutely.
When you think of those people who paved the way and have done things that have changed the whole scope of this whole culture, you are right there with the Russell Simmons. And when you mention names like that, you have to mention Steve Rifkind. Now, as much as you sitting here and I want to punch you in your face, don't take it. That's just how just because the way he's looking at me right now.
That's the love.
I mean, if you want to call it that, because that's the type of relationship as we get into the story. We have that relationship. He know that I'll punch him, but I want on camera because I don't want him suing me.
And I don't want to be a witness because I don't want to have to snitch.
I just want to know, when did you become legendary?
Dun-dun-dun.
When you hired me.
Oh, hired you?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just get right to the point then, because I got to know before I ask any other questions. How did you guys meet? Like, is that how you met?
Well,
like, how long ago and how?
It was around 15 years ago, right?
Long time ago, maybe even longer.
All right, 15 to 20 years ago. How did we meet, Gabi?
Did you say Gabi Road?
No, Gabi was Steve's right-hand guy.
Oh, my bad. You said Gabi. I thought you meant Gabi Road in College Park.
Let me help you out a little bit, Steve, and you can jump in. Steve came down. I'll never forget. For some reason, I had an artist back in the late '90s, early 2000s. They had a record, and he heard about it. Doing his research, he came down, and I met with him at the Ritz Carlton.
Okay.
Buckhead, my favorite, across from Lennox.
Yes.
The giant, the grits.
In Buckhead.
Okay, go ahead.
And we talked about the music, and he was straight up with me. He didn't sign my artist at that time that I had, but we started talking on some personal shit, and we had some things going on in our lives, a lot of things.
And this was 15, 20 years ago?
This probably maybe 17 years ago.
Okay, wow.
And we had some things, and we had the passion for a lot of the same things. Like, we both big sports dudes, family guys. He's got 3 kids, I got 3 kids. So, we just clicked on some other shit that I won't touch unless he wanted to touch on how. But
we both had panic attacks.
Yeah, exactly. We both had anxiety and panic attacks.
Wow.
And we just got to talking because at that point, I thought I was the only motherfucker around that. When you're going through some shit, you feel like you're the only one that's. And we were talking. He was like, "Oh, you have trouble flying too? I have trouble flying." And then we started talking about that, and it's crazy. Because we just, then we started our relationship just from there,
So, okay, wow, that is, especially.
I wasn't gonna say it.
No, but listen, I think
it's no shame in it.
Not at all. And I think that it's so important because, especially as men, I really think it's important that men, step up more and say more and stop, this macho image, like nothing ever happens or, whatever. Like, I think it's,
Shit does happen. I didn't go to the doctor for 35 years.
Oh, wow.
I had a massive heart attack 3 years ago.
Oh, my God.
And if I went to the doctor,
you wouldn't have.
I wouldn't have been.
You would have avoided the heart attack.
Yeah.
Well, you look amazing, and I'm
Thank
so
you.
glad that even though you didn't go to the doctor, you made it out great. And wow. So at that point when you guys met, and just to kind of fast forward a little bit, just so I can get a grasp on the whole relationship, how long after that did you start working for him?
Well, when we met, that was the end of the Loud era, right?
He was going into SRC, which was his other label.
Okay.
When we met, it was the end of the Loud era, and the last three, when I sold Loud to Sony in '99,
Okay.
I had to work for the company that I started. And that's when the panic attack started and the anxiety attack started.
So like Steve Jobs worked for the company, like kind of like how when he got fired from Apple and then they hired him back or something and somebody else was CEO and he had to work for them? Kind of like that?
Yeah, I mean, I was still CEO, but it wasn't my rules anymore.
Wow.
So that's what was causing everything, and I was never so miserable in my life.
Interesting.
That is wow.
So that's where my attacks were coming from.
Wow. So
Interesting.
So
I never knew that. We've had a lot of in-depth discussions.
Right.
Because I've known about, and you told me some of the other things that happened, whether everybody know when you have a label and you get as large as you have been in this industry, you're going to have those
that pressure?
situations
with artists that aren't always on the
Up and up?
not always.
But it wasn't necessarily the artist. It was just, what it was in those days. Somebody tried kidnapping one of my kids.
Oh my God.
Then they shoot up your house too.
The one shot up the house.
Oh my God.
So
The life and times of this music industry.
And okay, I promise for now this is gonna be my last dope question deep question because I don't want to get emotional. But
we could go. I mean,
well, I just want to say this, and I don't know if I'm a little off, but just follow me here. But when you talk about going through things that cause maybe like anxiety attacks and panic attacks and that type of pressure, because I know the pressure on to me, small level that I deal with, and how sometimes, never before it can be overwhelming. Do you wish that more people had conversations about it when you see people like Shakir Stewart,
Chris
and Chris Lighty, committing suicide, and you wonder wow, was that pressure too much? Was it a conversation that could be had? Did they just not deal with it? I mean, I know no one knows.
But you're right. Nobody does know. I didn't know Shakir that well, but every time that we did meet, he was, just always, vice versa. We both just paid homage and the respect. Jerry would tell you, I'll talk shit, but I don't believe in competition, especially when we're all in the same business.
Right.
Right? So if I could help Jerry or whoever blow up, forget about working for me or with me or whatever,
right.
And I helped him get to a place that he needed to get to. That helps me.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. And not too many people think like
right?
that, Steve.
So,
that's why I fucks with you.
So that's where I come from. I'll never count anybody's money at all. But you know what? If I could help you get into a position that gives you power, and one day I might need it, and say, hey, you know what? I need some help here, this, that, or whatever, I'm hoping, that you'll remember it. And if not, I'm fine with it too.
Yeah. So is that why you hired this guy the first time you did?
No, I hired him because he was great in what he did.
And you hired him as what?
Head of promotion.
For SRC?
For SRC.
Mm-hmm. Wow. And what year was this?
Ooh,
I just got separated.
I love how you
that's
base,
how men. That's how we, as men. That's we, and I'm sure women do too. But we had those dates in our lives.
Okay.
Those years. I think it was 06. That's when I signed.
Yeah.
He brought me down to Boca Raton. Me and my ex-wife.
Okay.
We had been talking. He was like, "Hey, I couldn't fly. You remember I drove.
Yeah.
Came down to Boca Raton.
Wow.
And I immediately knew. I remember telling my ex-wife. I said, "It seems like it's such a family environment because it was his kids, it was his ex-wife, and then it was just friends. And then I got a chance, and people don't know this, and I'm skating around to meet his dad. Steve is second generation 10. He's second generation.
Yeah,
Now,
I
he
was
will
going to
tell
say
you, we
that
gonna
his
get into
dad
that.
was a
Let
founder
me
of
tell
a
you
label
something.
too.
Let me tell you something about this guy, Jules
Oh,
Rifkind.
wow.
Straight to the point, one of the most
Original OG.
Hey, let me tell you. Yeah. But hey, when you think about OG, he was definitely an OG.
Wow.
And I knew how close they were. So I knew from me meeting him and me getting to know him later, later on through working with him, I knew when he passed that, I know how close they were. So I knew that hit Steve hard.
Right.
Because he spoke very highly of Jules Rifkind.
Wow.
Jules was the man.
Wow.
So he comes from that stock. So I knew when I came down and he was, quote unquote, recruiting me to come work for him, I knew it was something that I wanted to be in because it was some family. It was family shit.
Wow.
It was family.
So fast forward to, so you hired Jerry as head of promotions. Mm-hmm. And this was this in the beginning of SRC or
Yeah, this was
Middle was
beginning to middle.
it was that's a great question.
Yeah,
Was it was
because we had Akon. We was
we-
coming off.
Oh, wow.
It was coming off Remy and Joe and them record Lean Back.
so it wasn't Akon's second record yet. It was Akon's. It
Locked Up?
was right after Locked Up. Yeah. So
It was
yeah.
that.
Matter of fact, was you took me to the studio to start hearing. They started playing me some singles.
I wanna
We went to- we
love
went
you.
to
Was that the
studio
second one?
Yeah. Yeah.
Akon,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it was in between the first one and the second one.
But we had just came off Lean Back.
We just came off my first number one pop record.
Wow.
Lean Back.
We'll lean back.
So out of all, hold on. Out of all the artists and songs that you've had your hands in over here, that was your first number one pop record?
Yeah.
With the songs that have crossed genre, no big pun.
Wow.
And I would think with the mainstream songs he had, that would have
Yeah,
been.
but don't forget there was no. I mean, mainstream radio in those days.
It was definitely
It was
different.
more rock. It was like.
Yeah, that's true.
So, I mean, Pun went number one urban, but it didn't go number one.
So Lean Back was the first cross-genre record.
And the truth is,
format record, I should say.
and the truth is, I knew nothing about crossover radio. So that came about when I sold to Sony and Nicole was pregnant with the twins, and I was coming with this crazy fourth quarter, and Charlie Walker was head of promotion at Columbia. Says, "You don't know any white people." He goes, "Why don't you go visit, some white radio stations that play a record 80, 90 times a week?" I'm like, "Huh?" And I had 2 weeks, and I had the Sony plane, and I was doing.
And you just fucking roll.
I was doing 6 cities a day.
Wow.
And it was me, Gabi, and then whoever we picked up on the road.
Roll, just going.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you something, Steve. Now, when did you really know, when you was riding around in the limos with your dad and Diana Ross back in those days as a kid, but when did it hit you where you said, you know what? Not just because your dad was in the industry, but when it hit you, when did you say, this music industry, this is me. This is the shit. This is how I'm gonna make a living and feed my family.
Bye-bye.
Because you got stories. I heard you tell stories, like I just said, with you being in the limo with Diana Ross, with you being with names, just huge people.
Oh, wow.
But when did you, as Steve Rifkind, outside of your pop, say, this is the fucking industry that I'm gonna be in. I love this shit, and I'm gonna make my name and feed my family off this shit?
You know what? I don't know if I ever really said that, but what I did know was I went to a record convention.
Jack the Rapper?
No.
Impact?
No, I was a kid still. I was still in high school. I was like 17, 18 years old.
Oh.
And the convention was called NARM.
No.
And it was
What was it called?
NARM.
NARM.
NARM, okay.
And it was at the Diplomat Hotel in Miami. And part of my language, but the pussy that was
was incredible.
it was incredible.
Thanks for the disclaimer.
And that's when you said, from seeing all that
Shit.
Well, I used to live in Miami, so go ahead, carry on.
you said, I gotta be around this shit.
Yeah, I mean, this shit is like, I was like, this is what I'm doing.
Well, that's a typical teenager. So, I mean, as a teenage guy, of course that's what you thought. But like, at what point did it become more than about the women?
No, I never really I never sat there and said, "Oh wow, I made it."
So you grew up in it, so it was almost like natural to you.
I grew up in it, but I was a bad kid. I mean, I didn't know how to read or write till I was 14 years old.
Oh wow.
I was going to mention, people don't know that. And for people watching, this is just a testament to show you. You said until you were, I thought was it 12 or 14?
14.
14, you couldn't read or write. Couldn't read or fucking write.
So I got in a lot of trouble. I mean, I was on that, that little yellow bus, and they would have to handcuff me and go to school.
Wow.
So, my grandfather, who started all of this, called me down to Florida. And
Walk over time?
No, he was in Miami.
Okay.
That's where all the old Jews went.
Right. And still go.
No, they go to Boca.
Now they go to Boca.
But back then they would go to Miami.
Okay.
He says, you're going to end up dead or in jail.
Wow.
And you got to figure out something quick. And, and all I was really looking for was just to get some attention. I didn't need to steal. I didn't need to rob. I was just doing it to get attention.
Is it because your dad was so busy?
No, it had nothing to do with my dad. It had to do because I felt like, at 14 years old, you don't know how to read or write. And all my friends, are A-level students. And I knew I was just as smart as them, but I didn't know how to read or write. And it had nothing to do because I was lazy. It just, I was majorly dyslexic.
Wow.
So that's,
And to go from there to starting Loud Records, how were you when you started Loud? Who was the first artist on Loud Records, Steve?
Did you say how old was I? Or
how were you when you started Loud Records?
How old was I?
Yeah, how old were you?
I was 1990, so I was 28.
Who was the first artist on Loud?
Twista.
Wow.
People don't know that. From Chicago, Twista. How did that come about? How did you hear this fast rapping motherfucker and say, you know what? I want you to be the first one off of my imprint, off my label. How did that even come about? How did you hear about him? How did you?
All right. So, I don't consider myself an A&R guy.
Exactly.
I consider myself a promotion guy.
Yeah, we're going to get to that in a second, because I definitely got a question about that.
That's why me and him almost became the blows. But
No, we definitely going to talk about that.
So, my street team found Twista. There was a guy by the name of Faye Duvernay who was doing...
Wound up going to Interscope. I met him when he was at Interscope.
Yeah.
Faye, yeah.
Doing mix show for me and overseeing the street team for me. And there was a guy by the name of Eric who was a DJ for WGCI in Chicago.
Okay.
And he had Twista. So they sent us the record, and I was like, wow, this is
different.
Right. Did you understand what he was saying when you first heard him? Like, I still don't.
No, I mean,
I get the hooks, to be honest.
So we flew him out. In that time, I had the biggest promotion company in the business. Mm-hmm. Not radio
and
promotion.
We're going to get back to that.
Promotion, period. Yeah, I can't wait to talk about that. Exactly.
But go ahead. We're going to jump back to that space where we get to Loud Records.
So I flew him out to LA. Mm-hmm. And in between all this, I was offered like 3 different label deals. And
for Twista or for yourself?
For myself.
Okay.
And I really didn't want it. I was making around $100,000 a year. Mm. And I thought I was making billions.
Right.
Back in those days, 100,000.
Right.
And it was, I would leave the office at 3 o'clock to go to the park to play ball, come back to the office, play ball from like 3 to 5:30, just that shower, eat dinner, then get back into the office. And then what I would do is I would be in the office at 6:30 in the morning and call all the labels, all the heads of promotion before 7 o'clock, before 10 o'clock, before they even got into the office. Wow. And my mind was like, this motherfucker's calling me like at 7 o'clock, just thinking, like, I had nothing to do, there was nobody to call. But I would call them thinking that they would think that I was working hard.
Like, man, he's getting an early start. He's on it. This kid, Steve Rifkind, is on it.
So that's,
Ain't that so? Let's go back a little bit. All right. So between those high school 18 to where you just said you founded Loud Records at 28, that's a 10-year gap. Please tell the audience and Tangi when you say you had your own marketing, promo, street marketing, guerrilla. I mean, because it's all those things that I just said.
He is labeled the pioneer on several documented.
And when I tell you, not just on the music side, but
period.
And I'm gonna let him get into it, but I remember having a meeting years and years ago in the 90s with Pepsi. And the whole time that I was meeting, they kept bringing up Steve Scott.
Wow.
And I didn't know him then. I knew it. I was like, damn. I mean, that's how long. I mean, they had everything. Pepsi, they had all this shit, which was Mountain Dew and all that.
Wow.
So if you look at some of the things that you all accomplished, Steve, I mean, some of the stuff that people say now, oh yeah, but you was doing this shit in the 90s, dude. Like, I mean, come on, bro.
I mean,
like, let's go to that span between 18.
Pioneer. That is a big word, because it's one thing to say somebody innovated something, but to say somebody pioneered something means it wouldn't exist in that model if it wasn't for you.
And not just that, but it takes a lot of balls to jump out and do some things where people aren't doing them. People don't realize it takes a lot of...
Absolutely.
You gotta really hold your nuts to be like, you know what, we're gonna start this street guerrilla marketing company, and we're gonna do this. We're gonna have kids out with picket signs. We're gonna have stickers everywhere. We're gonna have poster... I mean, whether or not it's music or whether or not it's some corporate non-music shit, it takes a lot just to jump out there. But why did you start, and when did you start that company?
all right, so I don't know exactly when I started, but this, right? So I fly to Florida to see my grandfather, right?
This was when you were
18.
Okay.
Exactly 18.
Okay.
He says, you're gonna be dead or in jail.
Stay down here.
So this was
No, he didn't say stay down here.
that same conversation.
He goes, call your father and tell him you want to get to work and to send you on the road.
Wow.
Right? I'm like, well, what am I going to do on the road? He goes, well, you'll visit radio stations and just so on and so on. I'm 18 years old. So my grandfather calls my father, you know, and I'm supposed to be on the road for 2 weeks. And I'm doing like Alabama, Carolinas. I mean, like nothing
glamorous.
nothing glamorous. And don't forget, there's no GPS, there's no cell phones,
Right.
there's
Oh, my
nothing.
goodness.
Just
Nothing.
me and a map, which I didn't know how to read.
Oh, gosh.
And those 2 weeks lasted 4 years
Wow.
on the road. So I could give you like if you need to go to Orlando, you don't want to take the plane, I'll give you.
Right now, you can still to this day.
I'll give you the shortest route.
What GPS?
Well, fuck GPS.
What GPS?
He's the fucking GPS. So you took all that experience and said, all right, I'm gonna take this time, like you said, went from 2 weeks to 4 years.
4 years. So I'm 18 years old. So I'm talking to guys in their 35, 40, who have kids, this, that. There's only 3 things I want to talk about. Pussy, sports, and music. Not even money.
We got some things in common. Steve. That's
Clearly.
that's why homie right there.
Right? Not even money. Not even money. And so I would go back to the colleges. And I would end up going to the college radio, and they would have these hip-hop shows, and I'm like, interesting, you know? So that's became my bread and butter. And there was a magazine called The Gavin Report, which was the Bible for college radio. For college radio.
So they used to have a Gavin convention too.
Yeah. And that's what I started to attack. Then we started attacking mix show radio. Then a good friend of mine, or one of my best friends, became head of programming at MTV. So like...
Not Bob Pittman.
No.
Okay.
No, he was corporate.
Okay.
So it was, things just started falling into place.
Wow.
In a very...
Everything started aligning.
In a very organic way. Then Yo MTV starts.
And then boom.
Then I'm on the road, and a guy by the name of Hiram Hicks comes to me. He goes, "Where are you?" And I was actually in New York for a few days. I said, I'm in New York. He goes, oh, I'm coming in with Mike Bivens. I'm like, who's that? He goes, from New Edition. So we meet at some club for some party, and Mike, whatever, says they need a new manager, they're firing their manager. Mm-hmm. So now
thinking about managing?
No, I'm 22, 23 years old.
Okay.
I'm definitely thinking about it.
Okay.
But I'm thinking about, there's no fucking way I could do this by myself. So I said, let's meet at my dad's office.
Ooh, wow.
So I call up my father and my uncle. And I said, a guy by the name of Hiram Hicks is coming with a guy by the name of Mike Bivens, who is in New Edition. And we started managing New Edition.
Wow. I never knew that. Now that's, I never knew that.
They cut me out of the movie.
I was getting ready to say, I was trying to scan back through the movie. I was like, wait a minute.
How long did y'all manage New Edition?
A year.
Okay.
Still, I mean, that's.
It was for the Any Heartbreak album.
Oh, okay, wow.
So the scene where they fire their manager, in real life, it's Joel Katz, myself, and my uncle.
Wow.
And for whatever reason, they didn't use the ex-manager's real name. So they were calling him Gary. Yeah. That's not his name in real life.
Wow.
Ain't that some shit?
Wow. So, okay, I got so many questions. Like, I know we'd be here all day, but okay, I'm gonna try to circle around with them. So, just to kind of go back to like, and I think we talked about this in another episode where we talked about like, Jerry comes from a promotion and street team background. My very first job in radio was, my very first paying job after being an intern was not in programming, it was street team and promotions. And I would like to say that because of that, it's the reason that I've been able to sustain all of these years, because that grassroots approach, in the streets, that creating ways like, let me send these people popcorn and say, yo, if you want to pop, have us at your school, like stuff like that. Like just the stuff that people don't do anymore, I think made me a better professional today. And, so I thank you, because I never knew. Then we didn't have Google. I mean, I'm not that old, but we didn't have Google, and I didn't see you in the encyclopedia about who pioneered the street team promotion concept. How do you feel about the street team and promotion concept today, 2017?
It's funny that you say that. Somebody asked me the other day, are you ready to restart it? And I'm like, to me, it never really went away.
Right.
That's an interesting answer, that you say it never went away.
Because people, and we talk about this all the time, people think that the internet just came in and really not, but there's nothing, and you all can attest to this, and whoever's watching it, there's nothing like hand-to-hand,
absolutely,
guerrilla marketing.
But do you say it evolved?
Yeah. So, but for me, like, I'm 55 years old now, right?
Oh my God, you look amazing.
Thank you.
Like when I go on the road, and I'm done for the night.
And you still go on the road?
Gotta keep his shit.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm learning here. I'm learning here.
You gotta keep your hands on it.
So, right. Like, and I don't want to go to sleep yet. This, that. I'm not talking about going to the strip club. I'm going to a Walmart or a Target that's open 24 hours, so I could just smell what's going on.
Wow. I'm over here taking notes on the low. Like, I'm gonna just let you know that. Okay.
So. That's, and like I said, I never considered myself an A&R guy. So when I was married and during the Loud days, I wouldn't fly. My wife and kids lived in LA, but I wouldn't fly home every weekend. And so on Saturdays, I would wake up at 9 o'clock, and there was a store called Brooklyn USA in Kings Plaza Mall.
You was in New York?
In New York. I would be there at 10 o'clock in the morning. And then when I finally met the manager, or I convinced him to let me work there for free, so I could see what was going on. But I could only work there for 2 hours. So I would go from 10 to 12. Then I would go to Dr. J's in New York.
Oh, the sneaker store.
And clothing store. They're owned by the same people, right?
Right.
Same people on 34th Street, and I would go there from 1 to 3. Then I would go. Then I would.
You hear this work ethic?
Oh my
But
God,
the thing is,
I'm blown
he
away
didn't have to
though.
do this shit.
So then I would go to training camp on 45th and 6th from 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock.
Training camp? What's that?
It's a sneaker store.
Oh, okay.
Store. And then I would go to a place called BJ's on 155th
I
and
think
Broadway.
I heard of that one.
155th and Broadway. And they trusted me so much, they put me behind the counter. They would let me stay behind the counter.
And ring up people, or
And ring up people. So, and don't forget, this is in the height of loud. So this is where, you know.
This is after you done
people had no
platinum.
idea who you
sold
were.
millions
in
of
the
records.
sense.
people, they knew who I was.
Okay.
And they're trying to.
What the hell is he doing here? Did he buy this store? Is that what they were thinking?
Yeah,
Like, did he buy this store?
And all I was trying to do was, I didn't grow up on the street, but that energy from the street.
Wow. Organically.
No, just the energy on the street, and I'm not talking about the negative. I'm just talking about
Just
Right.
period.
the creative, and it doesn't have to be necessarily music. If
Experience in the
it's-
culture.
right? That would just,
And that's when you use that culture word. It's
Yeah.
the whole culture.
and that's what would excite me. So I would be behind these places and just listen to what the kids were talking about. So when I would come in and I would have my Monday meeting, you know, and I would check everybody, and because nobody knew
That you were out doing that.
what the fuck I was doing until an
Wow.
article like in page 6 in the Post, like somebody like, you know.
Steve Rifkind behind the counter
And
at
this
BJ's.
is in, like you say, this is in the heart of the Loud Day.
Yeah.
Now, at the beginning of the Loud Days, like you said, Twister. But when people hear the name Steve Rifkind, you can ask 10 people. 8 or 9 of those people, the first thing that's going to come out of their mouth is Wu Tang. How you feel about that?
That'll come out of my mouth too.
Wow.
I mean, that's a great thing to be. That's a great group to be associated with. And to know, do you ever just sit driving down the street and just be like, damn?
No. But what I do, Wu Tang just performed in LA in Long Beach, I want to say 3 weeks ago.
All of them?
All of them.
Everybody.
And I took my daughter, who'd never seen him before,
How old is she?
16,
Oh, wow.
and twin brother. And there were 50,000 people there. And we're on stage, and I'm saying to myself, 25 years later, they are probably more popular today
Wow.
than they were 25 years ago.
And you were a part of that.
Outside of people going on Google and all that, tell
Right.
people that how did the whole Wu Tang and Steve Rifkind Loud Records, how did that come together? How did that whole, you got these guys from Staten Island and you got Steve Rifkind. How did that shit come together, man?
Again, you know, at the time it was my college radio guy, speaking, his name was Trevor Williams, talking to a guy named Jason Staten, who was our street team guy.
Jason Staten lives in Atlanta.
Yeah, I think he's at HTA now, right?
Huh? He's at
What, V?
he's at another station.
Okay.
You see, we got a dog on the show. This is how Rifkind do.
Right.
He brought him out
Oh,
to
boy.
he brought him out
Sniffing
to
around
Warner.
oh, my goodness.
Are you scared of dogs?
Uh-huh.
Oh, do me a favor.
It's cute.
Just bring him back. They're scared of Champ.
I'm not scared of him.
Like, I'm not scared of them, but, like, dogs, like, love me.
You're not
They
gonna
love
knock
to
this thing
sniff
down,
around my legs.
We'll edit this
It's
right
pretty.
here. He get.
I think it's
He's a
pretty. I like to
little
look at
puppy,
them. I like to look at them on the other side of the glass, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, when they in the cage and stuff, like, not when they can touch me.
Oh, so you was talking about, we'll edit all that.
Exactly.
Right.
Oh, shit. The fuck?
It's a
Where
woman
she
thing.
come from? Exactly.
It's a woman thing.
Exactly.
It's a look at.
She did. What about in his bed, though? We edit all
What
that
happened?
shit. Okay, let's get.
What?
No,
They share
don't
bed.
get.
They share bed.
Oh,
She
Okay.
just hating on the dog and she's hating.
okay, because we almost just went to a whole another episode.
Oh
okay.
no. So okay,
All right,
let's.
so,
We gonna edit all that out.
okay,
Edit it.
we're cool.
So you would say Jason Staten.
So Jason sends the record to Trev.
Okay.
Wu-Tang demo.
Not a demo, the record. They put the record out themselves.
They put their whole album out?
No, not the album, just a single, Protect Your Neck.
Protect your neck, kid.
Wow. Wait, was it on a tape? I just gotta know this. Was it on a tape?
Yeah, it was a tape and
Well, that's
Oh
what
my
it had been
God.
back then.
Hey, I'm just saying, man. It could have been a record.
Huh?
A 45.
But go ahead.
All right.
All right,
I'm
go
sorry,
ahead.
I'm showing my age. You know I'm on the
So
25. Go ahead.
protect your neck.
Protect your necks.
Wow.
So, I'm in New York for my 31st birthday, and I'm in the RCA building, and the receptionist says, "There's a Prince Rakim here for you," and I've been trying to track him down since the beginning of the year.
Wow.
Right? So I bring him in, and I'm with D Swift from the Alcoholics.
Wow.
The Alcoholics
Yeah.
is a group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
you,
sorry.
You got to get up on your hip, but go ahead.
Hey, listen, hey, I'm on my hip hop. I'm just showing my
No,
age.
you're not if you don't know alcoholics. But go
So
ahead.
the office is no bigger than this table right here, like literally.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm behind the little desk. D Swift is right here, and then RZA was Prince Rakim in those days. He goes, "You mind if the guys come in?"
Wow.
And like,
See
yeah, no
all these
problem.
motherfuckers.
So they all come in, and we put the record on. They start performing the record, and I'm not joking. The office it's a guest office, in the old RCA building.
Yeah.
Somebody comes barging through the door and says, "That's that shit."
You don't remember who it was?
Storms out, never saw the guy again. I have $1 million check waiting for him.
I'll take it for him if you want me to just hold it for him and put it in my account till he come get it.
So a guy came in the office. It
was like, that's that shit right there.
To this day, I don't know. I don't know if RZA set me up, and or if somebody really hit.
Like it was their cousin or something, just waiting in the hallway to put the stamp on
And the
it.
history of Wu Tang Clan
Began.
It's all because of this guy.
Oh my God.
and you signed them, and as they say, after that,
It's history.
you. Whew.
So to this guy,
How
if you're
many
watching,
millions of records sold.
40 between the solo.
Shit.
And
Everybody
We
combined.
have 45 million records.
oh my God. So wait, so to this guy, if he's watching today and
Thank you.
It ain't nothing but RZA's cousin from.
well, it may not be,
Over in
and if it's
Staten Island.
not, and
That's
this
his
$1 million,
homeboy.
you can contact me. Just go ahead and DM me, and all I want is 25%, and I'll make sure that we facilitate the transaction to get it. Okay, go ahead.
That's interesting, bro. What's your relationship now with Wu Tang? What is it? I mean,
Great question.
I'm
Great
sure.
question.
And maybe you're not, but you can correct me if I'm wrong, Steve. But as with any artist, I'm sure it's been like an elevator over the years.
Not
Or
with
has it not? Okay.
not with Wu Tang.
Not even when that guy kind of bought their
I had, don't forget, I sold Loud in '99. I had to work there for 3 years. But-
so that's when that happened.
No, when the guy bought the painting or the album, whatever.
Or
yeah,
something, and he
just recently.
That was
it.
recently, but I had nothing to do with
Okay, cool.
that. But me and RZA speak all the time, and we're talking about, the Loud 25 year
Yes.
thing, and we're talking about the Wu Tang 25 year, and just, so it's like,
Do you hear that shit, Tangy? 25
yeah.
years of consistent like that word. I'm gonna take the word you said. It's a pioneer.
Right. Because
25 years, Steve.
the Wu Tang following
dude.
is just as big today. I mean, if
And
you
let
look
me
at the
tell you-
hashtags,
And let me tell you one thing about Wu Tang is Wu Tang is that they were large here domestically in the United States, but
Even
if
more internationally.
Europe, Japan, they were fucking huge.
when we came with the Wu Tang Forever album,
That was a double CD.
Now that I do remember.
They debuted #1 in every country around the world.
At the same time, debut, right? Duh, Tangy. Okay, debut, number one at the same
Debut,
time.
number one.
Wow. How did that make you feel? So is that, speaking of which,
So what the night before
the night before the debut,
the album was a Monday.
Monday, because
Yeah.
Tuesday
Um,
drop.
It was a Monday. The office there was press everywhere. Like in every room. MTV here, BET there, ABC News here, somewhere, and it was nuts. And finally, we were smoking in the office, my office, personal office, and it was me, Ray, and Ghost. And I said, our lives are going to change tomorrow.
wow.
He goes, what do you mean? I said, look at this. I go, and we had big offices, this is, so it's
Yeah.
like, mean, you got World News Tonight, you had MTV, you had
Oh,
BET.
wow.
I mean, just like people outside, you know, it was like we had to use a back entrance to get out of the office.
Ain't that some shit?
Wow.
So, and we were doing, not an in-store, we were doing a promotion with Virgin Records in the middle of Times Square. I said, come on, let's jump in my truck and let's just see how the line. So BMG was on 45th and Broadway. Virgin was right underneath.
Right there.
The line went from 45th Street to 53rd Street.
Oh my God, is that almost 10 blocks?
8 blocks, yeah.
Wow.
Wait, but then across 53rd Street, even though 6th Avenue goes up, down 6th Avenue, and it was, you know, and don't forget, there were no camera phones.
None of that, right?
No social media, nothing.
We have to find those Polaroids.
Right, and you know, and then I remember just going home, and I was with Alex, my son. He's just turned 2, or he was just turning 2.
Oh, wow.
And I said, I don't know what ride we're going on right now. And I mean, I was just talking for the sake of talking, but
It's gonna be a hell of a
I said,
ride, son.
this is gonna be some fucking ride.
Would you say that's your biggest moment to date? And everything you've done, and everything you've touched.
Professional-wise, not
Yeah,
personal.
professional-wise, of course, of
I
course.
mean, I don't know. I mean, Akon's second album. You know, there's, you know, it's like,
Because let's not to cut you off, Steve, but we gonna go back because we said that when people hear the name Steve Rifkind,
They know what they
9
don't
times
know.
out of 10 they're gonna say Wu Tang.
Right.
But let's keep it real now. You have a wide range of your catalog, your history is way. I mean, Mobb Deep and Big Pun, and I mean it's up to Akon. It's a lot of things, man. From you know, again, culturally that you have
Pioneered.
had your
Help pioneer. Had your
thumb
finger on the
So,
pulse.
and you know, I know most recently I saw some of your social media posts on Prodigy, and I know that hurt. You know, and it goes back, and I was thinking, I was like, wow, you know, some of the things that you know the artists that have come through Steve's hands, from you know Prodigy, Mobb Deep to Big Pun, you know, cats that have passed.
Right.
You know, and I was trying to I was like, I can only imagine the hurt, you know, from because you were, you know, there with the beginning of all of them. Like I said, Big Pun, Prodigy, and with them, you know, passing away, I know that's like a piece of your family.
oh,
That was gone. I saw it through your post with Prodigy. I was like, damn, I can only imagine back when Pun passed, because I mean,
so when Pun passed, I was in Hawaii, and I might have said this just recently, but nobody really knows this. I went to Hawaii to resign from Loud, and I was ready to give Mottola all his money back.
Wow.
it was that bad on you working for somebody when you
But
was used to
just all there was just all the bullshit, the threats. You know, it was like, you know, the crazy thing is the guy who shut up the house, right?
Oh my God, I still cannot get over that.
And Tangi, he was holding his child when they shot the house up.
And try to kidnap a child. Like, oh my God.
I remember
like,
he
what the-
told me that story when we were talking.
Right? And the thing is, I didn't even know the guy. I had nothing to do with it. It's like, not you, but I give you, say, a label deal. I give you your money. You owe her $1.50, say, right?
Yeah.
You buy a house, and you don't give it, and she's like, "Where's my money?"
And he put it on you.
Go to see, right? So it's not like I had no
That's that
Cool.
dumb. That's that silly shit. I hate that dumb shit.
right. So I don't know why I just brought that up, but where I was going.
You were saying you went to Hawaii. When
Oh,
Pun-
To resign.
yeah. So
resign from Loud.
So I wrote Mottola a letter.
Wow. Not an email, a letter.
No, I didn't have a computer.
Wow.
I mean, I don't have a computer now either, but in those days, I definitely didn't have a computer.
Wow, really? You don't have a computer?
No, I have a phone.
Same
Wow. No, not the same. Go
fucking thing.
ahead.
He communicate on that bitch.
Carry on.
So I'm resigning. And I feel like 5,000 pounds just got lifted off my chest.
Oh my God.
Next morning, I wake up,
You sent chills up my spine.
The next morning I wake up and I'm playing tennis. I'm a pretty good tennis player in Hawaii.
More stress-free because you wrote the letter and it's done.
And I'm selling the houses. I'm moving to Hawaii. I mean, it was just like I was done. And out of the corner of my eye, I see these two huge fucking Samoans come running, and nobody knows where I am except for my mother.
Wow.
That's it.
Were your kids there or no kids at the time?
I had Alex. My twins weren't born yet. Mr. Rifkind, you have an emergency on the mainland.
Oh my God.
So I'm just assuming somebody's dead. I mean,
Yeah.
But you didn't think in a million years.
But I thought it was somebody in my family, and it happened to be Punk. And I just extended my trip for a month. Like I resigned.
You were in a good space.
I was in a good space, right? And I remember we just wrote him a tremendous check. And I know he loved his kid so much, and I just broke down. I was like, and then I was like, who knows about this? And it was like, I remember calling Angie.
Angie Martinez?
Yeah,
Okay.
and she was on the air. Mm-hmm. And she broke the news.
Pun had passed.
Oh my gosh.
And then I just, went to work, and then my wife, just said,
Gotta go home.
Go home. So I called
And then how, because I left off, I forgot, along with Prodigy and Pun,
ODB.
Bastard as well.
Wow.
What was your relationship like? You said with the whole Wu Tang, it was solid. So, with the ODB passing.
So when he passed out, was a Saturday, and I just flew in, and the next day was the American Music Awards. But I was flying right back out. I don't know why I had to fly in for. I don't know why I ended up in New York. But the second I landed, the phone just started ringing like crazy. And I couldn't get in touch with RZA. I couldn't get in touch with Divine. I couldn't really get in touch with anybody.
So you found out first?
I don't know who found out. I'm sure they found out. When I found out, I just went straight to the studio. Went straight to the studio, and it was just me, RZA, and his brother. And that, Dirty, he was definitely misunderstood. This kid had a heart of gold. And if you were a friend of his, and it was just like, you were a friend of his for life.
And I'm sorry, Jerry, I don't mean to cut you off, but like with when I think about everybody that you just named, we talked about Pun, we talked about Prodigy, and we talked about ODB, and all of these, they weren't shot, they weren't like murdered, like all of these were health. Or overdose or addiction or something of that nature. And I know that you were telling me about your own health scare and things of that nature. How does that affect you as a man today when it comes to health? Because even after all of that, you still didn't go to the doctor, right?
No, but now
you go every day.
You'll take your.
I got a little cut here.
You gone, right?
Yeah. So
does that have anything to do with it? Do you think when you heard and this is I'm still can't wrap my mind around the Prodigy situation?
No, but this is my thing, and I still believe this. Eventually, when you go to a doctor, the doctor's going to give you bad news. Eventually, one day.
Yeah. And going to prescribe something. That's just that's when they're going to do.
No, but I'm not even talking about prescribe. I'm just talking about you have cancer, you have this, you have that. Something. You're there for a reason.
That's true. Unfortunately.
So, I just.
You said you don't want to fucking hear it.
I don't want to hear it.
So don't go.
But now you go, right? We need you. I need you to keep going, okay?
Yeah,
he goes a little bit more, but like.
No, I go, but I'm still not they have to check my blood levels, not blood pressure, right? So I got to get I got to give myself a shot once every other week, and then I got to go get blood every 3 weeks or every month, right? So the nurse knows me now for 2 fucking years, and I ask her the same question, and I know it's the same blood work. Like, what is this blood for? What's the test for?
Every time, 2 years.
Same shit.
Right?
Wow.
I go, we're not testing for cancer, we're not testing
None
for
of that.
no STD, right? No, this is just your iron, your this, that, or whatever. And I'm like,
Basic.
all right.
You don't want to know the rest?
I don't wanna know
I'm
anything.
so done right now.
Now, you know what question
Oh
I
my
got to
God.
ask him, Tangy?
What?
And we talked about, and you've had many successes, Steve. Many. And this is, and the way I ask it, we're not throwing any, I've always prefaced, we're not throwing any artists or anything under the bus. Nothing.
Or nobody's second,
Right.
or the hype man.
What
quote,
artist
unquote.
did you sign that did not blow up, that you look back and you expected to really, I won't use the word underachieve because that's putting a negative connotation. What artist did you have your hands on that you signed that you really thought was gonna be fucking huge and didn't blow?
Dead Prez.
Wow. Dead
Yeah,
Prez.
Steve, you could have called me. I would have told you back then, honey. I didn't get it then. I just, I mean, I
I
get
love
it.
Dead Prez. I love
I
it.
really, and it's not because they didn't work hard.
When I tell you, those two guys are two of the hardest
we're-
working brothers around, and they got a great following
Yeah.
too.
The problem was they didn't trust, and for what they stood for, and we're cool now. We're real cool now. They just looked at me as Whitey.
And
I
you know
was
what?
I was about to bring that up.
I couldn't digest it. I couldn't digest it then, and I couldn't,
They had some very good records.
and I can't say that they didn't, but
Did you think they ever had that?
I mean, if you listen to hip hop, right? I mean, that record might be one of my favorite records of all time.
Yeah,
hip hop,
Yeah,
hip.
right, yeah.
they
Right,
had
that
some
record,
records,
right,
yeah,
right. Then they had the record with Loose Ends, Mind Sex. I mean, it was
They
just
had
like
some
they had amazing records, but there wasn't a trust on their part with me. So if we could have been on the same page,
Or it could have. Now, on the flip side, was there artists that you signed with? And I know as a businessman and as a successful guy, there's nobody you really sign that you don't expect to blow, especially when you put your all into it. But is there somebody that exceeded expectations per se?
I'm so interested to hear that.
That you signed and was like, they're dope because you wouldn't have just threw no money. I know you're not about to just cut nobody a check and
Right.
just put them on. Is there somebody, an artist that really?
it was Asher,
Asher Roth.
right?
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
Right. I wanted to. You introduced me to Scooter, right?
Scooter Braun, which is Justin Bieber's manager.
Right.
You are-
Jerry introduced me to Scooter.
Did y'all ever cut me a check off that?
I mean, for an introduction?
No, I'm saying y'all wind up doing deals and shit.
I'm just saying, if
Yeah.
you cut Jerry a check, technically I get one for affiliation.
So hold on, let me. So I introduced you to Scooter Braun, who's now Scooter. That's I love Scooter. How much? Oh my God, he's got so much fucking money.
He manages Kanye now, right?
Yeah.
Oh, he does? I know. Okay. Kanye, Ariana Grande, Scooter Braun. So I introduced you to Scooter. Y'all wind up doing business and making money, right? Damn, Steve.
But you were working for me at that time, Jerry.
Shut the fuck up.
Speaking of working, okay, I just want to I got a couple questions that I got to know. Speaking of the working, so like when Jerry stopped working for you, right? Like, what was that?
Uh-oh.
You want
Here we go.
You want to hear the story?
Yeah, I mean,
Let's see if it's the truth. I'm gonna listen. Go ahead. What happened, Steve?
Jerry left to go to Def Jam. Period. The end.
Shakir Stewart and Jermaine Dupri recruited me very hard, very hard. And they came to me and said, hey.
what year was this?
08.
08,
I signed my
07,
contract in 08. So
This is
07,
probably
07,
right
07.
about when I met you. This is probably right when I met, because I was at B103
07.
then.
I signed my
I
contract
mean-
with Def Jam in 08.
But let me
08.
finish the story. So,
Okay.
Let me get Steve's side, okay?
I had to get permission from
It's only
corporate.
one side.
I had to get permission from corporate,
From corporate, what corporate?
Universal,
Okay.
To hire me.
to hire him.
Because it was like some other
And they were
president, vice president, SOC.
More power as it be. Okay.
right. And I had to go through
Loophole at the
loophole and just a lot of yelling, a lot of screaming, a lot of not at Jerry. you
At
know.
the corporate. Like,
we've
what,
had-
did you hurry
yeah,
the F up
but-
before I lose him?
But Tedge, we've had a lot of
Oh,
that.
I'm sure, I'm sure.
Because you got two alpha males and we.
So
Honey, I know how me and you argue, so I can imagine how y'all argue, but go ahead.
So I finally get it done after creating a whole bunch of enemies.
And then he already took the other
No,
job.
no, 2 years later.
Oh, okay,
He
okay.
Takes the job,
2 years.
2 years.
Yeah. I stayed with Steve 2 years.
And he stays at a Universal company. So there
But
were,
if I could have told you the money that Jermaine and Shakir and Def Jam gave me, I mean, no, and this is my guy. And he was Steve was paying me very good. Very good money.
right?
Very good money.
They're looking, first of all, they're looking at Jermaine like, you really want, it's like,
Like you work for the same company. Are you really trying to get somebody from the? Is that how it was?
and I was like, I don't even know if Jermaine knows this, but it was, they didn't even bring up Jermaine's name. It was
Steve Bartles. Steve Bartles.
right? And
Steve Bartles, who was
and I'm like,
president.
they were gonna block it.
Oh, they were? This is something I never knew.
Exclusive alert. Okay.
They were gonna block my deal,
Yeah.
Wow.
But she was still.
but you blessed me.
Yeah, I said, I said, I don't want somebody working for me if they're,
Oh, stop with that shit.
Cheers.
He's trying to, what he's about to say is, I don't want nobody to work for me if they want to go somewhere else.
yeah.
Cheers.
Those, go ahead, you want? Those are just straight facts.
Right.
No, but it goes back into us interviewing and talking to David Banner. That's just,
Yeah, what's the second part,
you shut the
You were supposed to
send.
send me that shit.
Shut the fuck up.
Now, he was an overachiever.
Banner, yeah.
And I'm so proud
So
of him.
when you signed him, you did not expect him to do, I shouldn't say.
I expected, the second I met him, I knew,
He was
a
gonna be
star.
great.
right, I didn't know if he would be a rapper, I
A
just.
preacher.
Banner,
No, but
a
Banner
civil
just,
rights
Banner
activist.
just got,
Yeah,
he just got
I
that
mean,
type.
I mean,
Motivational speaker.
Banner's that dude.
I just knew
that you
he was going to be something, and whatever it was. And I remember my oldest son loved him. They had a special relationship.
Wow.
And we were on Christmas break, and Banner called or something, and I was playing tennis, and Alex answered the phone. And he goes, my dad can't answer. He's playing tennis. He goes, starts not screaming at Alex, but you tell him that my bus is broken, in wherever the fuck he was, and just like
When I tell you Banner has a lot of, when I tell you a tremendous amount of respect and love for
Absolutely.
you, and he stated that,
and vice versa.
that he stated that, the reason that there was a perceived beef
I never knew there was a perceived beef.
that, that how did he worded it, that he didn't like you, he said came from some other shit.
Or kind of made it seem like in the media,
he
like
said-
kind of made it seem like he
He
wanted
said
out
he's
of
got
his.
a lot of love for you.
Yeah.
Tremendous.
But it
and he
wasn't ever
speaks-
like
and-
that.
No,
And,
but
it just goes in, it goes to the true testament of who you are, Steve. He said something that a lot of artists, I'm sure they'll tell you. He said he would not be who he was as an artist and as big as he got if it weren't for you, bro.
Yeah.
He said that out of his mouth, straight up. He said that. He said, I would not be who I am without Steve fucking Rifkind.
Thank you,
And
Banner.
that's a true, that's a true testament of who you are.
And they were getting funny with his money.
That's why. And
He even
that-
said, as the businessman he is today, with what he's doing now,
because of you. Because of you. You told him.
And he had some major fucking records. Like he had, like he had, what? Like a Pimp was the first one, right?
And we talked about Cadillac's
But,
2022.
I mean, that record, it should have done more. It didn't.
He had-
With
Banner had some-
but I'm talking about, he had Play, which was.
yeah.
Oh, I
Right.
forgot about
Forgot
Play.
Right. How we forget
He had
about
Play,
that?
And then the record with Chris, Get Like Me.
Yep.
I mean, those.
Oh, Get Like Me.
Yeah, I mean.
Oh, that was my
I
song.
mean, those were
Some records,
Those were
Monster records.
Those were #1 records.
Yep.
So, for whatever reason, corporate. To this day, I really don't. And it wasn't Mel. It was like somebody had just a real hard on for him, and I would be like, give him his fucking money. We are not releasing him. This, that, so on, so on. I never hear about beefs. Who has a beef with me? Who doesn't have a beef
Because
with
he
me?
doesn't have a computer.
No, it has
Because he stays away from that negative energy.
No, it has nothing to even do with staying away with the negative energy. It has to do, it's like, if you're running a race,
Gotta keep them blinders
right?
on.
If you look over your shoulder,
Yep.
there's a chance you might trip.
Yep. Or you definitely gonna slow down and lose, because then you're gonna be worrying about what everybody else doing and be distracted by that.
So and that's really what I tell people. Like,
because you don't have beefs, right? But you.
I mean, I'm
watch
sure.
this, Tange. Watch this. He gonna get sensitive about this shit. But there was stuff I did. This was before I started working for him. That Steve slapped the shit out of a guy that worked for him.
That's a lie. That's a lie.
No, I said. What did I say? I said that it was put out there. It was all around the industry too. Steve slapped this dude at a radio station. I was like, Steve. I'm thinking, Steve, really? It was put out there. I'm not. That the guy that worked for him, his promo guy, that Steve slapped the shit out of him at a radio station, and he sued the fuck out of Steve. Now I don't know if he really. He gets sensitive
Is that
about
true?
that.
What, did I smack the shit out of him?
No.
Yeah,
I would not dare make you snitch on Legendary Jerry.
Nah, he sued me for, but there was...
No substantial evidence.
No.
And it was everybody in the industry was talking about it. It's like, you know how at school it's a fight at school and everybody's talking. Everybody in the industry was like, yo, Steve Rifkind slapped his promo guy at a radio station. I said, what the fuck? And then later on I started working. I said, man.
First of all, it wasn't at a radio station. It was,
see how stories get twisted up?
It was at a restaurant, and I didn't slap him. What we were doing was we played ball that day. We were all basketball junkies. Mm-hmm. He called a foul.
He called a foul.
A foul.
A soft ass ticky tack foul.
Yeah. And
foul?
like
Ticky-tack.
like
LeBron do. Oh, okay.
Right?
You gotta give me examples. Okay, like LeBron do.
So what I did, I go at dinner.
Yeah.
Like that foul. That's a foul.
I go, like he mentioned something at the foul. I'm like, I go, get over it. I mean, all I did was...
Steve. And he sued you over that shit?
No, he said that I slapped him in the face.
Yeah.
That my security held
roughed him up.
Roughed him up, pistol whipped him, put a gun in his, everything else like that.
It was all around the industry.
I'm on the bus heading to Florida.
And you're like, what the fuck?
Right? And I'm like, you know what? And that was, at the end of it, I was just like, you know what? I'm done.
Did it change the way you trust people when you hired them now?
I'm sure it had to.
No, I mean, I'll still, I am passionate, but we were talking shit. There was no...
And when you talk shit to Steve, it get because we've, like I said a few minutes ago.
I watch y'all agree each other, and it was
we've been in
different.
the office where it's been where I could think
Y'all
that it
didn't
would
agree?
come. Yeah, because you got two alpha males, and he, like he said, people think he's an A&R guy, but he's a promo guy.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's certain things that he thinks that I'm not delivering on, he's gonna let me know, and I feel like he wasn't talking to me. So but for somebody that doesn't know how to handle, they could be like, oh, but that was the story he just said. That's a story that I never knew. So that's really exclusive. I never knew that.
Wow. Okay, so
I didn't know that shit, Steve. I noticed when I used to fuck with you, but I used to get mad, like, man, I didn't do that shit. Like, it was like, you know how like somebody accused you of cheating on the test, you like, no, I didn't do it.
This guy was my man.
I know, y'all were like that.
I offered him, before Gio, I offered to become head of promotion. He didn't want the job.
Wow. See what you get from Storytime with Legendary Jerry?
Right.
With Steve Rifkind, the stories that you hear.
And if he walked in right now, what do you think I would do?
Probably dap him up.
I would give him a hug.
Wow. Okay, so before I forget, I have a couple questions. Steve Rifkind today is doing what's the overall synopsis of what you're doing? Like, where's the label? Where's the what are you doing?
The label, we just put out our first record.
SRC still?
No, it's called Wave.
Wave.
We put our first record out 3 weeks ago.
On
Wave.
No, who's the artist?
Oh, his name is A1. He's an amazing songwriter, producer.
Okay, and is this the label that you started where you were looking for artists last year? I saw some sort of article last year where it says you were looking for artists in 2016?
Yeah.
Is that?
So I partnered up with a Korean company.
Okay. The international money.
And
so SRC is no more? Or?
SRC is no more. Loud is no more.
Bring it back, man. Bring that name Loud back.
I'm
thinking about it.
Thinking about it.
Now that's an exclusive. Okay, so
Bring Loud back.
We have Wave, okay, and what else do you have your hands in?
Gearing up for Loud 25.
A reunion tour or concert?
We're doing one.
2018?
No, we're doing one show at Barclays December 18th.
2017.
Of 17.
Oh, we got to be there.
Oh, we will be there.
We got to be there. We got to broadcast live from there.
We're going to be live from there. Hopefully, God willing.
and I just sold my life story.
Oh, wow.
Please tell me not the Lifetime, Steve. I know you ain't. Okay, thank God. I was about to say, I need a drink if you sold it at Lifetime. You didn't sell it at Lifetime?
Yeah.
Thank God. Don't let them mess up your life
Very,
story like
very
that.
interesting. That's
No
gonna be
offense,
a
Lifetime, if y'all offer me a TV deal.
That's going to be a very interesting.
And it's going to be a TV series.
A series? Like New Edition series?
Different because
I mean, because it's you and your story is different, but I mean, kind of like that concept of it, because it blew up, New Editions.
no, I mean I'm hoping that it goes to a Netflix or an Amazon, something like that. But the feedback now is they want to do a 4-year run with this.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Now,
That's an amazing. But you have an amazing story, dude. I mean, just from what you said on camera here, and then what I know from us talking off. I mean, it's some other shit that we hadn't that could definitely be for some interesting interesting show.
This conversation, Jerry, that we're having. I thought there'd be a lot more shit talking.
I think we're probably about to get to that.
Jerry got me serious today.
Yeah, because I'm gonna have but you know what? But it's good because I'm gonna tell you something. I feel like I'm in school, and I'm learning so much. And 2 more things, 3 I think. Okay, but real quick. So Noriega and Capone, were they signing you?
Nah.
Okay. I think I saw something where it said that you work with Noriega on his podcast or work with him to
No, Puff has it, but I'm trying to do like a pregame for their drink champs. So we're in discussions with his management and him. I mean, I go back with Nori.
So that means you are getting into another part of because I forwarded Jerry this article this morning, and it said the Nielsen ratings had come out, and it was today's a big day. August 23rd, 2017 is a big day for podcasting because for the first time, according to Nielsen, 50% of every home is a podcast listener.
Wow. Can you send me that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So what was your affinity with getting involved in podcasting, especially with it being new media?
It's not like, I'm going to get into podcasting. It's always, to me, it's about, if it touches me in here, you could call it whatever the fuck you want to call it. I'm going to fuck with it.
So I'm still intrigued, Steve. I'm gonna go back. This Loud 25, man. Everybody's gonna be there.
Everybody. Like Wu Tang.
Do you realize that
Fat Joe Remy?
Steve Rifkind got a gold, and maybe I started off at gold, it may be platinum. When the advent of mixtapes and when Funk Flex.
60 minutes.
60 minutes.
Of funk.
That was on Loud. Did I go gold or platinum, Steve?
Some went gold, some went platinum.
Are you talking about singles or the album?
Albums.
Album.
Oh, wow.
Funk Flex.
Real money.
Oh, you're talking about you're talking about his series of mixtapes.
Yeah.
That was through, but
One
I'm
through
just
5.
going through the whole progression of Loud Records
Right.
and SRC. I mean, we just touched on Akon.
Right.
But I'm saying all that to say
the people don't realize SRC was bigger than Loud.
Explain, Steve. Not from a sales standpoint.
From a sales standpoint.
Really?
Hear me out. Loud, from a culture standpoint.
Was phenomenal.
Right? And I had the marketing company and everything like that. But Akon, on the first album sold 3 million. The second album sold 8 million. The third album sold 4 million or 5 million, right? And then there were ringtones, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
There was the ringtone.
Right?
Oh, my
so,
God.
and then that was just Akon, right? Then Banner, he went gold or close to gold every record that he put out.
Yes.
Right? Then we had Melanie Fiona.
Oh.
Right.
Where is she?
I think she's
At the house raising her baby.
I mean, I follow her on Instagram, and I feel like
Oh my God, I miss her. I loved her song.
No, she is.
Now that you've broken it down like that, damn, Steve.
Right? Wait, I'm not done.
Right.
What about the lean back?
Wait. So we had Lean Back, right? Then we had Chantel,
Oh,
Who?
right?
Chantel.
Who had 2 top.
But she didn't sell that much. She didn't sell that much.
No, she didn't sell albums, but she sold 18 million singles.
Wow, and I don't even know who that is. I feel kind of left out of this
That was an
conversation.
artist
Right,
when
and
I
that-
first came to the label.
And then we had Asher, who sold
Oh,
I Love
wow.
God, 3-4
Almost
million
Gold.
singles. Yeah.
No, his album didn't go.
No, the album didn't go, but we sold 4 million singles, and we did 400,000 albums, which to me was going to be my new blueprint.
That's it right there.
Wow.
So
So SRC, financially, Steve, that's why you got that fucking smile on your face, because you see that shit then? That's that motherfucking rich smile right there.
Yeah, is that what it is?
Yeah, that's that fucking right. 'Cause
Listen,
now that you done broke it down like that,
he's leaned back with his feet on a glass table a minute ago. So of
Akon
course,
by itself, that's a lot of.
the man lit a whole freaking country. Of course, Akon sold a lot of records. The man lit the whole freaking continent of Africa. Lit
Damn.
lights.
So Steve,
Some people in Atlanta can't even pay their light bill.
you're really in a great place right now, man. It's good to see you in this great place, dog. I'm just happy that I'm alive, Jerry. I mean, yeah, you know, I want to punch you in your fucking stomach.
No,
that's just
you're
how.
not punching
Tansy,
his
that's what we.
stomach.
No, Tansy,
see,
you don't
here he
understand.
goes.
I know that's love.
Here he goes with his shit talking
You know,
again.
this
you know.
me and this guy, man. I mean, we probably went a
I
couple years.
didn't see you talking to any of your other interviewers that you.
Well,
you,
Steve.
you want to take advantage of an old white man.
Oh my God!
who has
Did
a
you
fu-
just play the race card live on it?
It was just
who has a battery in his side with a fucking 9-inch scar.
Tansy, you should have heard him on the phone talking about how I want to fucking, I'll beat your ass. But it's cool. This is my
Yeah, I
guy.
think I saw like him on the phone with you one time, and I was a little confused. I was like, "What the fuck is happening right here? What's going on? Who was talking to me?"
But the good,
he was
great
talking to
thing is,
himself.
when I tell you from the first time we met until the progression of me coming down to Boca Raton, meeting his family, to now, this is my guy. Like, no matter what, we didn't have the all-out arguments, but we didn't. If there was ever anything personal and professional I needed, I could call this guy.
And that says a lot again about his character.
Let me borrow $10.
All right, let me run to the ATM.
Right. So look,
I got you.
Okay, before we end, Jerry, I was just sitting here reading this letter, and so I'm sorry if I kind of kept looking away, but
letter?
it's a letter that Steve wrote,
To who?
an open letter to future CEOs.
Oh, for the convention.
And
Which convention? You coming to speak in Atlanta, aren't you?
Yeah.
When's that?
October 4th?
October 4th, but I just read the letter.
So what do you think?
I think, again, and I think in another episode that we did, I kind of told the person that they had inspired me to, sometimes have you ever had moments of confirmation? Kind of like we talked about when I guess somebody came to your office, what was it, from New Edition, and you said, okay, we're going to my dad's office and blah, blah, blah. So there's this part in this letter that I read that was just confirmation for me. And then I wanted you to kind of maybe elaborate on it for people that may be listening, because I think we are in a time where everyone wants to be a CEO, but they don't necessarily know why. They think they can have an Instagram boutique and think all of a sudden, they can put CEO on their profile and they're it. But you said you'll need a vision and plan to take your company to the level you should be at. Then you will have to execute that plan and vision. And I'm gonna just stop right there, because I am, as a creative person, usually the type that may kind of get stuck in creating and the planning stage, because I plan something so great and I know what I want the end to be. And I see my vision of what the end should be, right? And then sometimes I question, like the battle between talent and CEO. Talent and just being a talent, right? Because it took me a long time to go from just being a talent to becoming a CEO. And even now, when you talk about vision and plan to take your company to the level you should be at, how would you give, not only me, but anybody that's listening, like you wrote this letter to future CEOs, how do you go from vision to plan? You may not necessarily know how to do a plan. How do you go from that?
It's not even about the plan. You could have $1 trillion idea. But the bottom line is this: if you don't execute your plan or your vision, it's nothing.
So you're saying go.
What? Go. And don't, and I think in that letter I said, and don't take the word no.
Right, don't take the word no for an answer.
Who the fuck are they to say, as Khaled says, right? So it's like, this is your dream or your vision, and if you're the one that has to execute this and you got to build it brick by brick, fuck everybody else. That's what I'm saying. Just have your blinders on and don't worry about what that next person's thinking. Oh, you got to paint that brick blue. If you want that brick painted whatever color, this is your vision, this is your thing. You do what you want and fuck everybody else.
And this is coming from somebody that couldn't read or write until the age of 14.
Me away.
So that tells you. So you hear what this guy said? This is music mogul, music fucking legend.
Absolutely.
Stephen Rifkind. And we appreciate you, Steve, man. Like,
my God, yes.
It's all love.
Are you gonna clean up with the fucking mess you made?
Jesus Christ. Thank you, Steve, for letting us come to your crib. And
Let us come in your home.
we didn't have to come out to the West Coast.
Right.
My brother said, look, I'm going to open up my house for you. So
thank you for that.
man.
Thank you for sewing into our dream.
I love this guy. This is my boy. Give everybody your social media handles, your Instagram, all that shit.
Just Steve Rifkind.
By the way, I seen you on social media, but we gonna talk about that. The little picture I seen, I was like, Jerry, was that him right there with her? Okay, it was a few years ago. We're gonna talk about that later.
As you all, every show.
What picture?
We gonna talk about that off camera because I don't want to be no snitch. I ain't gonna be no snitch.
Out on behalf of Tangi Renee. I'm Jerry Clark, Steve Rifkind. As you know, I dedicate every episode to my late father, Thomas Clark, to my mentor, Stanley Bethel, and to my homeboy, Shakir Stewart. And for tonight,
my father,
for this episode,
and his father,
our boy, my boy, his dad, Mr. Jules Rifkind. And signing out, this is Jerry Clark, legendary Jerry Storytime with Legendary Jerry Show.
Follow us.